Hey everybody, Robert with RC Archery. For this week's Tuesdays of the Week number 112, we're actually going to re-release a video that was previously only for the members of this channel. This video was filmed and released about a year ago, and we're going to be talking about our bow arm and how we keep that arm strong and drive that bow to the center of the target. A lot of questions that I get on Instagram and some comments that I'm getting on my videos here revolve around our bow arm, that shoulder, what we're doing with our elbow, and kind of how we're aiming and driving to the target. So hopefully this video helps a lot of you out, and then you get a sneak peek into what is some portion of what our members only content is on this channel as well. If you would like to see some more of that or see what the options are for the members only content, there is a link down below, or you can click join as well. It's next to the subscribe button. That way you can see what's on there and maybe get some extra videos, some extra content for you as well.
Hey everybody, Robert with RC Archery. You're watching a members only video. In this week's video, I want to talk a little bit about something that was basically retaught to myself this week when I was shooting, something that I had honestly forgotten about during my time off for several years. And it's a huge factor. So I was very lucky to kind of re-stumble across this and remember this, and it's definitely something that I want to pass on to you because it has taken my shooting from where it was at and brought it up that next level to get me closer to where I was before. And it's how we are setting up and using our bow arm. And for me, in my shot style, I want to have a very strong bow arm. And what I mean by that is I don't want my elbow locked out, but I want it out to where there's a little bit of relaxing there and there's a little bit of shock absorption that can be had from that joint, but I don't want a big bend and I don't want to be really soft on this arm to where it just kind of flails around and moves. So the way that I am setting this up is that when I'm drawing back on target, I already have my arm set up where I want it and I'm just bending at the shoulder joint here, drawing the bow back, and when I get to anchor, I'm pushing towards the target with my bow arm and pulling back just a little bit with my release hand to create tension in my body. And that helps me settle my sight picture. I'll see the movement start to shrink and come down. And then at that point, my shot is essentially continuing that push towards the target and just kind of holding it there and keeping that steady and firm throughout my entire arm and the muscles engaged. That keeps my arm from moving around a whole lot. It keeps me from wanting it to drop and dip down on target. And then from there, whatever your shot style is, if you want to pull through the shot, you have a strong arm that won't bend or move or adjust in the wrist bone, the shoulder, or the elbow, and you can pull against that and make your release fire. If you relax through it, then you can take up that slack, but your bow arm having that extra push towards the target keeps you from letting off on the back wall. It keeps you from collapsing. It keeps you from having those dip bangs, and it immediately shows you and tells you that if you're getting light back here or you're getting light on the front end, what is happening. So I'm gonna fire a couple shots here and let you see what this looks like. I'll talk through the first one, maybe the first couple of them, let you understand what I'm thinking about, what is going through my head, what I'm feeling, and then give you one to just let you see what's going on. On this first shot, I'm going to, there's two different ways that I'm doing this with the bow arm. And on this first shot, I'm gonna go over the way that I was originally doing this. And then on my second shot, I'm gonna talk you through what I'm probably gonna settle with, but I'm not 100% sure on. So I'm gonna give you the option to be able to know what I'm doing on each. One may work better for you than the other, and just that way you kind of know what's going on. But when I'm drawing the bow back with this first option, I'm leaving a little bit of a bend in the elbow. So it's not gonna be a lot, but it is a slight bend in it. And I'm, again, just lifting the bow arm up, drawing back. As I come into anchor and get my sight, peep sight and everything centered on there, I'm then pushing out from the elbow and pulling back. And I'm not fully pushing back from the elbow 100% all the way. I want a little bit of extra room and movement for this to expand and continue opening up. I'm gonna get my thumb, I'm gonna put it on the trigger, and then I also am engaging my ring finger and my thumb at the same time. With these thumb button releases, I draw them back even pressure between my index and my middle finger. It allows me to have a consistent Feel and consistent rocker position. If you're a little bit more on the index or a little bit more on the middle finger with these thumb releases, you can get some left and rights, up and downs, depending on the angle of the release. We want to avoid that. So I'm always even with pressure between the index and the middle finger. But I'm going to get it on target, have a little bit of bend in that elbow, and a little bit of extra movement out. Engage that thumb and that ring finger. I want to feel the pressure build up on it. And then from here, it's a very slow push out from that elbow through the bow arm. And what it's doing is it's pulling that string forward and increasing the tension on my thumb and on my ring finger by the push that I'm putting into the system. I like this a lot. However, I've noticed that I have a tendency to potentially push the bow down or up, depending on if I put more heel or less heel into that grip as I'm pushing out. And I can have a tendency to push my shots off to the left because my bow arm is swinging out. So that's what I started doing the other day, was actually pushing out like that, and that's how I was executing, because I seem to hang up from time to time trying to just pull through the shot, something going on, but I never hang up pushing through the shot. It's just the way my brain works, that's how it's happening. What I migrated to and what I'm doing currently is that give and that direction and that opening I can get from the elbow joint, I'm actually taking that out to begin with. So I am keeping the arm not locked out, but as far out as I really want it to be, with a little bit of sponge left in that elbow, and then just lifting the bow straight up from there and drawing it back. Now at this point, when I get into anchor, when I acquire my thumb and my ring finger to that trigger, that is me pulling back a little bit to match the push that I have in this bow arm. And then from there, I am still keeping that push pretty firm and pretty hard, but I am relaxing my hand in order to fire the release. So it's a little bit of a combination of relaxing, I guess, the index or the index and the middle finger. With the thumb release, I'm trying to relax the index and the middle finger together, and that is allowing it to kind of ride through my hand and open up, and it drives it with that thumb and the ring finger into the trigger and into that finger bed, and allows it to shoot. The benefit with this is, because I've taken up all of the forward movement with my bow arm when I'm getting into anchor, and there's not an additional forward movement, there's just a pressure that I'm keeping in it. I don't see the ups, downs, and push and swings to the left as much. I'm keeping that pretty well. So at that point, it's really just focusing on maintaining good pressure back here, taking up a little bit of the slack with that push forward that I have, that barely little bit of room there as my hand relaxes. So I'm going to shoot both style shots again without talking and let you see them. I don't know that you'll see a lot of difference, but I want to let you see on target what that looks like. This first one, I will shoot bend in the elbow, a little bit more bend in the elbow, I guess the best way to put it, when I get into anchor, and allowing me to just push the shot away to make that shot fire and make it happen. All right, that's the first one. A little bit faster speed than probably what I would do with a target on there. I can't stress this enough, but when you're shooting, you want to have a slow and consistent execution manner, whatever you do, but you want it to be very slow and very controlled. So as slow as you can do and still be controlled, not have the shot drag on too long, run out of air, have too much movement, creep up, stuff like that. But not so fast that it's a snap movement, or you can't control it, or you couldn't stop the shot in the middle of your execution if you had to. All right, next shot here, this is gonna be what I'm shooting right now with elbow out, probably 98% of the way as I'm drawing and anchoring, and then letting my hand just kind of give, yield, relax, and maintaining a hard push to the target to keep a very strong and firm bow arm. That one's probably closer to my normal shot timing. I tried to focus more on that for you there. But honestly, I'm really liking that way of shooting for several reasons. And one is I seem to be more consistent with hand pressure on the bow as I'm getting into anchor and shooting. And I seem to be more consistent on the initial acquiring of the peep and just feeling comfortable. And then from that point on, my shot's a lot steadier. I don't see as much movement and it's working pretty well for me. But it's not to say I'm married to that. I may go back to the other one. But that's working really well for me right now. So I wanted to let you see that. If you're using a hinge release, essentially what I'm doing with the hinge release is only relaxing on the index finger. And people feel this differently. So it depends on what you're doing with this. Some people feel like they're taking their fingernail and letting it ride and come up in this manner. Some people feel like they are just letting go of the release or relaxing with that release. The big thing that I will say is whatever method you're doing with any release while you're doing this and relaxing through it is you don't want the outside of your hand to fight it. You don't want to be relaxing on the index and also on these outer fingers so everything just stays where it is and just rides up. You want to keep these outer fingers engaged on this release and just relax on this index so that it rotates the release. On this thumb button release, relaxing on the index and the middle finger with that excess pressure that you have there and allowing it to just ride up and come into the thumb and into the ring finger. So I'll shoot one more here with this hinge release, let you see that. I'm gonna do that with the shot that I'm rolling with right now. So the bow arm being pretty firm, pretty out there, keeping that strong tension, strong pressure in there and just shooting. All right, that is with the hinge. So especially a brand new one. If you watch the video for the normal YouTube Tuesday Sip of the Week, that's literally like my 5th shot, I think, with that release. So still a little jumpy with it, with the click and the feel of it. It's a whole lot different than my Fulcrum Flex. Fulcrum Flex, I have it really tight on the index finger. That is another thing about this too. You may find that on a hinge release, you just want a ton of pressure on the index and not a lot on the outer fingers, and maybe that's what's working best for you. With this too smooth, the way that I have it set up right now, I'm trying to mimic it more to my thumb release to where I'm not fully balanced on my index and middle finger, but I want to be able to get to full draw using my index and then balance that out to where I'm adding some pressure in with the middle finger, and that way I'm hoping that my index won't hang up as much on some shots, especially when I'm a little bit nervous or getting towards the first or end of the round where I'm trying to keep my score good. So a little bit longer than normal, guys, but thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for being a member of this channel and following this content. And hopefully this video will help you. This is one of the few key things that if you can get this down, you will see better scores and better consistency no matter what. So wrong draw length, wrong form, whatever. If you can keep a strong bow arm, that bow arm is staying on point to the middle of that target, it's gonna make your shots a lot more consistent, your scores a lot better. So keep everything up, guys. Thank you for following this channel. Thank you for being a member again. I'll see you soon.
All right, guys, hopefully you liked that video and it's helping you out. Appreciate you watching this video as well as all of the others. If you're still watching to this point, comment down below Archery Vision. We'll be able to see who is still hanging out at the end of this video. Y'all are awesome. Make sure that you are subscribed to this channel if you aren't already, and then of course liking and sharing this video with others. It helps the algorithm, it helps this video get out to more people. So thank you again. I'll see you soon.